Morning. Good morning, everybody. Oh, they're good. They're good. They slept pretty well. They didn't have to deal with the earthquake you guys had to deal with. I'm good, Mom. How are you? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. How's it shaking? It is Friday. My dad supposed my apartment was shaking and I'm not sure why. Yes, that's exactly right. Actually, before I put these in, I need to see if Secret Fiancé is getting up, see if he wants one right now. He is quite still asleep, so I'll make mine first. You felt like a freight train ran through the apartment. Good Lord. That's terrible. Did you guys see the Ellen and Joyce? Yeah, I just saw that. It was very funny. I was just going to say that, Liz, Ellen and Joy's video was, you know, funny to see because they hit them at different times. I guess that's the end of that. Yes, yes, yes. Ellen went in to shoot her. I know, which is funny because she's from California, so she should know better. She should know that nothing was going to happen to her. That made it kind of funny. I was like, Ellen, you know better. You're from California. Like, what? She's fine. Lola's fine. Very funny. Very funny. Oh, I missed the yesterday live. Oh, I will upload it. Don't worry, MB. Don't worry. Whoa, am I blurry all of a sudden? Didn't even notice that? That was weird. What is happening here? Is it my eyes or is it the camera? Is that happening to you all too? It's trying to focus. Weird. The sun is causing problems. Well, we'll move. We'll move. Let's see, how's that? Okay, well, we're going to be moving from this spot momentarily, so this won't last, but how weird. How very weird. Yeah, that was strange. That's strange. I don't know. That was weird. How is everyone this morning? What's everyone drinking this morning? I'm obviously making coffee for Secret Fiance and I. Good morning, Sarah. Let's make coffee for everybody. Shoveling 2 feet of snow in upstate New York. Wait, are you serious? That sounds terrible. Morning, okay. Started your coffee. Very good, very good. Excellent news. Excellent news. Sasha, are you going to do the contact solution experiment? I need to. I need someone to remind me when I'm not on live. Someone send me an email. That's what would do it. Someone needs to send me an email about that. That's what needs to happen. Hey, Anya. Haven't been around in a bit. Boyfriend is now fiance. Yeah, he is. Near Plattsburgh, New York. You know what? I just realized I don't know where that is, but also that the camera is still doing the thing. Why is that? Thank you, MBA. Appreciate it. You know my brain. Hey, Lily. Libby. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. Yeah. Well, Friday for you all doesn't mean the same thing for me, but it is going to be a fun day. It's still the sun. Yeah. But I am going to see my family today, which is really exciting. I love to see them. I look very angelic with the sun. That's funny. Very north. Yes. I will be babysitting my niece and nephew tonight. What could be better than that? You know? Thank you. This was a gift from my friend, and when I was having a hard time writing yesterday, my friend, Arbitrary Canary, was like, maybe you need to wear your author sweatshirt to write. And I was like, you know what? I think I do. You know? So I put it on so that I could write better today, hopefully. That's the goal. The goal is to write better today than yesterday. You follow Arbitrary Canary? Yes, she's a great friend. She's wonderful. Lots of fun. What else is going on? You'll be at work during the eclipse. I will be here, but it's not really showing much in LA. Is your P.O. box somewhere? You mean listed somewhere? It's in my link tree, but it's also on all your packages. Do lots of work in Messina. Whoa. Coffee for Secret Fiance. It's making sizzly sounds. Coffee for Sasha. All right, now let's move to a location where the camera doesn't go in and out of focus. Everybody say hi, Monstera. Looking quite large this morning. We need to repot it and move it to the floor. It is too big. Too big. Oregon was the path a few years ago, and some cities were hoping. Did you get anything, Jen? Or no? For those who are big readers outside of what we read in here, I just wanted to let you all know that I have been reading another book by Gabrielle Zevin. I know I told you about Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow before, and some of you had already read it, but I loved her work so much that I started reading The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, and it's just as snappy and funny and good. It's not the same kind of story at all, but it's just as fast to get through because it's so good. Like, you want to read it, you know? So this one was great. The other one is great. Like yesterday, that's amazing. So if you end up liking her stuff, it turns out that more of her stuff is good. I'm going to read an Abby Jimenez book after this. I have my next book to read myself is yours truly. But I want to finish this one because I got the AJ Fikry book from the library, so I want to finish it before it's due back. Yeah. So that, that's interesting. And if anyone didn't hear, my book is free on Kindle for a few more days. So grab it while it's good, and then help me get some more reviews and stuff like that on Amazon's and whatnot. That would be great. The Kindle copy has a couple of promo days, so that's exciting. I think I'm going to read this hockey romance. She's an ice skater, I think it's called, on Saturday next. I've been thinking about reading a hockey romance just to see what the hype is all about. I obviously haven't picked one yet. Yeah, I need to get one of the new copies from Amazon City. I'm going to order that today after this, so that it has all the new edits and all that stuff in it. So that is on my list of things to do today, and then I will mail that out as soon as it arrives. It should be faster than the other orders because it'll just be one. So that is good. Book of the month. Yes, a lot of people are in the Book of the Month club. The friend that gave me this one, actually, as you can see, this one is also Book of the Month. She gave me a whole bunch of books. She actually gave me the Paris book also. She was cleaning off her bookshelf and she was like, do you want any of these? And I was like, yes. If we have the ebook and you have made edits, will it update our ebook? I think so. I hope so. We should check. That's interesting. I would assume so. It did for John. Remember when John left an entire chapter out of his book and he had to put it in? That's really cute, Cindy. That's very cute. Yeah, she just didn't have any more space, and she was like, these are the ones that I'm going to donate. Before I donate them, do you want any of them? And I was like, I do want that, yes. She and I have been friends for 20 years at this point, though, so we trade stuff back and forth all the time. Yeah, I will, Liz, I will. And you know what, actually, I should just check on my Kindle since I have one now. I can do that kind of thing now. All right, so books by the foot. Yes, books by the foot. I definitely, I don't have much space for books either. They're just piling up on my kitchen table instead. I mean, when I lived in New York, I made stacks of books to like act as furniture in certain places. Like I would make like you can take a bunch of books and turn them into a side table or like whatever like that, because sometimes you just need space, right? What are you gonna do? You gotta do what you gotta do when there's no space. Here, we're okay right now on bookshelf space. Slime them for Halloween, no problem. Slime the books for Halloween. Oh my gosh, I would cry. No, that's one place I can't get it off. All right, so let's read. We are on chapter 9 of Paris's memoir. The chapter we read yesterday was quite intense, and I modified a lot of it to make it more palatable for reading aloud to who knows who's gonna scan by. So just know that I will do the same as always. I will alter words where needed and so on and so forth. So, chapter 9. My memory of the following weeks is a blur of shock and exhaustion. I stumbled through each day in my pink sweats and gym socks, trying to avoid speaking or being spoken to, trying to swallow my humiliation and terror, trying to avoid eye contact with the boys who hissed and spit at me during raps. If they looked at me, I was the one who got in trouble. I counted down the 14 days I had to get through before I could call my parents and wear shoes again. Grace, hi! Well, Grace is here, you guys. Oh, she's in the car. Okay, I was gonna say, are we at the doctor yet? Are we in the chair? Are we there? She's at the doctor. Everyone send the best vibes ever to Grace. 2 weeks, I reminded Hippie Mess using my sweetest baby voice. You said I could call my parents. I can't wait to tell them how beautiful it is here. He smiled and said, cool, Blandon, I will be right there to support you. Oh, this is a fun moment to share another bit of actual copy from the CEDU brochure. CEDU has experienced a great deal of success with students who are manipulative, unmotivated, and lacking in direction.
These adolescents often have strained family relations, poor communication skills, rebellious or withdrawal behavior patterns, and have possibly experimented with drugs or alcohol. My parents had been counseled. Someone is trying to join our live, but I declined. I do not want them to join us. I don't know them. Who are you, Danny? My parents have been counseled by the psychiatrist who made weekly visits to the school that I would try to lie and manipulate them into letting me come home. He told them the only way to literally save my life was to be strong and refuse to listen to my begging and pleading. When I sat down for my 15-minute phone call, Hippie Mess and Blanda sat right next to me listening in. I had planned to blurt out everything as quickly as I could before they cut me off, but when I heard my mom's voice, my throat choked up and I started to cry. Mom? Mom? I needed those effing shoes. I was afraid to say anything that would give the counselors an excuse to keep me in pinks, so I tried to send my mom a secret message. I used the baby voice, which she knew was fake AF. Who do you think I learned it from? Mom, it's just like, I'm really, I couldn't do it. Words poured out of my face. Mom, please, you have to get me out of here. This place is effed up. You don't even understand. Paris, honey, I know it's hard. You just have to hang in there and work the program. Work the program? It was scary to hear CEDU speak come out of my mother's mouth. I'd been operating on the assumption that my parents had no idea what was happening here. Now I didn't know what to think. Mom, this isn't like, in the shower. Gently but firmly, Hippie Mess took the phone from me and said, "That's all for today, Paris." I tried to hold on to the receiver. No, I get 15 minutes. Paris, he said, you don't want to lose your call privileges, do you? I won't say anything bad. I won't tell, I swear. He hung up the phone, severing the connection, that small thread of love in my mother's voice. It would have been less painful if he had cut off my finger. You want to make another call in 2 weeks now, don't you? Yes. Okay then, work the program. Another week went by, and then another. I was so effing exhausted. I tried everything to sleep, counting, playing music in my head, imagining dancing under the strobe lights, but if the blanket touched my foot, I'd jerk wide awake with my heart leaping out of my chest because I was back in that moment of the thug grabbing my ankles. I bolted out of bed in the morning, cleaned the room. If there had been hair on the pillowcase or a wrinkle in the blanket, the team leader would tear apart my bunk and dump my drawer and tell me to start over. And then they'd tear apart Blanda's stuff just to make her hate me. Sometimes they didn't even give a reason. They just tore up the room to mess with us and make us miss breakfast. Working outside in stocking feet was unpleasant, but working inside was worse. Working inside meant scrubbing toilets and floors with creepy staff members hanging around and smoking and leering and making menacing comments to girls who were down on their hands and knees cleaning. Outside, there was cold, clean air, and carting rocks and logs to the top of a hill gave me a better view of the surrounding area. It looked like miles and miles of nothing but trees, but every once in a while, I saw dust coming up from a gravel road or a wisp of smoke from a chimney, which gave me some idea where the town might be. I forced myself to eat the sort of food that I wouldn't feed a dog because I had to stay strong. I tipped my head and drank shower spray to supplement the inadequate water we were given for hours of manual labor. Stay hydrated, stay pretty, be ready to climb out a window. During school hours, we were required to write dirt lists and disclosures, owning up to all our cop-outs, sins, evil thoughts, bad things that we had thought or done or had been done to us. These confessions were used as ammunition during rap. I refused to get in there and blow people away, so I was constantly on bans, but I never offered anything of substance on my dirt list, so they only had limited information in my file to blow me away with. Well, hey B, how you doing? These broken CEDU people practice cruelty like a martial art, largely self-defense, but lethal as needed. The person getting blown away would sit there with big, wounded, watery eyes, and for the moment, it was tempting to pounce. You wanted to feel safe, and there's a brittle shell of power in being a bully, but that shell of safety is weak and unstable. What goes around comes around, and so the bullies were more terrified than anyone else. The kids who did the hurting were just as damaged as the kids that they victimized. The nightly smush was just, beyond. There was literally no escape from it. Thinking about it makes me want to fall into a tub of sea salt and hand sanitizer. We all did what we had to do to survive, and it left deep scars. I don't know who those kids were or if they'll ever see this, but it wasn't their fault or mine. None of it. The cinder blocks of shame we carried out of that place was never our burden to carry. It belongs to the people who made the place. Horrible. About a month after, I was told I was going to my first profit. Basically, each profit has some theme like the I, me profit, or the journey of self-profit, or whatever the F profit. It made no difference to me. You had to sit through several hours of lectures by team leaders and counselors who read from voluminous scripts written by the great god of furniture sales, Wasserman himself. Ugh. There were bizarre exercises, including one where a kid had to lie on the floor and a trainer shoved a towel in their mouth, and the kid had to bite down and try to keep their head on the floor while the trainer yanked on the towel, fighting to lift them up. And yes, it's as violent as it sounds. There were stories about people losing teeth and a girl whose jaw was so messed up that she needed surgery. After that, there was a marathon mega rap that started in the evening and lasted until morning. You had to stay awake and continuously engage in this ritual until breakfast time the following day, and that was the first food or water that you were given during the whole insane event. This was a huge group thing that mostly took place outside of a lot of physical activities, so thank you God, they gave me shoes. Oh, I see, outside with a lot of physical activities, so thank God they gave me shoes. I made sure that I was sitting close to the perimeter. 2 or 3 hours into the lecture, when everyone was supposed to stand up and chant, I nipped over to the nearby enforcers and said, "Hey boys," in a sweet, flirty way that I used to use with the paparazzi. I don't know when I left alive or why, but I'm back. Well, hello, welcome back. One of them said, "Aye." The other said, "Get back in your group, Hilton." "I really, really, really need to visit the little girl's room," I said with a giggle. "Just a quick tinkle, please." The first enforcer gave me a smile and glanced at the front of the group. Everybody was waving their hands in the air, so there was no way the speaker could see us. The enforcer nodded toward the restroom and said, "Hurry." I had scrubbed toilets in there many times, mentally measuring the window. It was small and high on the wall, but I'm tall, and I was super skinny from months of hard work and inadequate nutrition. I got on top of the toilet and clawed my way over the sill and dropped to the ground on the other side of the building. I darted across the yard, keeping into the shadows, climbed the fence, and ran like hell. Without looking back, I scrambled down a steep embankment, through thick underbrush, and into the mossy forest. People are always saying, "Don't go into the forest, there's dead kids in there. If you try to run away, they'll kill you and they'll hide your body in the woods." I didn't believe that. If I had, it wouldn't have made any difference. All that mattered was getting away from there. I don't remember thinking anything other than run, run, run. I went in a generally downhill direction, just going on instinct. I saw the dirt road below me and ran parallel to that until I had crossed a little stream. I didn't want to get my shoes wet, so I crossed the road and angled down the mountain till I found a paved road. Every time I heard a car coming, I jumped the quad rail and hid in a ditch or behind some bushes. It was late. The sun disappeared behind the ridge, and I was cold and scared, but I was on fire with adrenaline. I felt like I was in a movie. This was some James Bond shit. Sticking close to the road, hiding from approaching vehicles, I ran for what seemed like a long time. I don't know how far, but eventually I saw a bright yard light through the trees and followed the glow to a small parking lot outside of a roadside travel place, like a combination restaurant and gas station. By the side of the building, there was a payphone. Oh God, thank God. Remember payphones? Do payphones even exist anymore? Thinking about how grateful and relieved I was to see that grimy outdoor phone bolted to a pole, it makes me want to buy one and install it in my foyer. Using a trick all club kids know, I lifted the receiver and toggled the flippy thing underneath until the operator came on. "Operator," she said, "do you require assistance?" "Yes, I need to make a collect call to..." Fuck, I didn't know who to call. My parents might not listen. Graham Cracker was too far away to do anything. I need to call Kyle Richards. I gave her my aunt's phone number. The operator said, "Who should I say is calling?" "Star," I said. Kyle answered and accepted the charges. "Paris, honey. Kyle, you have to save me. Please don't tell my mom that I'm calling. Just come and get me, Kyle. Please, please hurry. This place is effed up. The people are crazy, abusive. Mom didn't..." "What do you mean by abusive? Did one of the other kids hit you?" No, please. I'll tell you when you get here. You just have to come right now. Please, I need you to get me out of here." "Where are you?" she asked, and I told her the address listed on a card next to it for an ad for taxi service. "Okay, just wait there," said Kyle. "Don't go anywhere." I went behind the building and I scrunched down into the weeds. After a little while, when a police car rolled into the parking lot, "Have you seen a blonde girl?" the cop asked someone coming out of the restaurant. Shit, think, hide. The door on the back of the rundown building was blocked open, probably venting heat from the kitchen, and there was a narrow stairway just inside. As soon as the cop went away, I crept up the stairs and went behind some boxes of Christmas decorations and things Christmas decorations and things where there was kind of a crawl space over the rafters. I scrunched into the shadows and waited, looking down on the restaurant below me, inhaling the smell of fried chicken and potatoes, letting the music move through me. I didn't know until that moment it was possible to be physically hungry for both food and music, but I was. Hours went by, cops came and went, the enforcers from CEDU came and went, the bartender shrugged. No, haven't seen her. Perched on a narrow board, I forced myself to stay awake so that I wouldn't fall. That was the hardest part. I was so tired. Kyle was coming from LA and it would take a while, but she was coming and we would drive fast away from the shithole of a place in town with a McDonald's. Place to a town with a McDonald's, sorry. That's pretty funny. Yeah, seriously. Ugh. Oh God, I was so hungry. Eventually, she chased the last of the drinkers from the bar and set up chairs on the tables and mopped the floor and was chatting with the cook as he cleaned the kitchen. They turned off the lights and they left. F my life. Now Kyle would have no way of getting in. She was probably outside right now. I stretched my cramped legs and climbed down the stairs. I pressed my ear to the door. Nothing. I cracked it open and peeked out into the silent parking lot. Moth flittered around the light bulbs above the phone booth. I went to the payphone and called Kyle and she accepted the charges. I was like, Kyle, where are you? Did you call the police? No, she said, of course not. A heavy hand clamped around my neck and I tried to hold onto the phone, but the enforcer lifted me off the ground and threw me into an SUV. They drove me back to the school, which was actually only 2 or 3 miles away. I guess I'd been running in circles part of the time. People were still at the Prof Eat thing, looking like a bunch of red-eyed zombies. Weasel Mug looked like this was the happiest moment of her life. She hauled me up in front of everyone and said, well, look who it is. Man, that's a bummer. Hey, your coffees are there. I didn't even see the back of her hand coming at me. The next thing I knew, I was down on the ground. An enforcer hauled me up and they just went crazy on me, hitting me, choking me, shrieking. Everybody, look what happens. Everybody looked. Their eyes were as big as soccer balls, a lot of them crying. No doubt this was an intense thing to witness, and I suppose that was the whole point. That's why they didn't need barbed wire or steel bars or iron doors. This was something a lot stronger that kept people inside. They had horror stories about kids in the woods. They had everyone teed up to tell on everyone else. And they had people who loved you fooled. Aunt Kyle was in her 20s when this happened, not much older than me. We've never talked about it, but looking at it from her perspective the whole time, how could she not call my mom? Her big sister. My parents did what you're supposed to do when your kid disappears. They called the police. I was angry when I was younger, but the more I learned about how hideously clever CEDU's sales tactics are, the more compassion I feel for my family. At every step, they genuinely believed they were doing the right thing for me. I mean, think about it. On the advice of a mental health professional, you send your struggling kid to this beautiful boarding school that costs a fortune. When the kid tries to run away, do you believe the kids who've been royally pissing you off, or do you believe the psychiatrist who says the kid is crazy and an incorrigible liar? I'm not the crazy one. You are, says 100% of crazy people. Local law enforcement often have financial arrangements with these places. They get rewarded for returning runaway kids, ignoring allegations of abuse. And come on, Dead Kids in the Wood, that's a B-movie plot, isn't it? I mean, that can't be real, or do we just not want it to be real? We don't want to believe that a monster named James Lee Crummell, a convicted SA and serial killer who hanged himself in 2012 while on death row at San Quentin, was connected with a long string of horrific crimes, including ending of 2 boys who disappeared from CEDU Running Springs campus in 1993 and 1994. The Department of Justice Missing Persons investigator Bill Gleason reported that Crummell regularly accompanied visiting psychiatrist Dr. Bernal Forgy on his trips to CEDU. I don't know if Dr. Forgy is the same doctor who consulted with my parents, but he was there at the same time that I was, hard-selling parents on the idea that their kids need to work the program for 2 years. According to a June 7, 2012 article in the Orange County Register called Mom vs. Child Killer, Guess Who Won by Lori Basha, Crummell was not the first or the second or even the third SA offender who over the years had lived with Forgy. Forgy was arrested the year after I left CEDU, and he was charged with multiple crimes that went back years. From the Los Angeles Times, Other possible victims of psychiatrists are being sought. May 6, 1998, by Tao Hua and Scott Martell. According to the court documents by the Orange County District Attorney's Office, Borgia is suspected of having lots of terrible things with teenagers under his care, while Crummell did worse. Is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to read it out. I'm just going to say did worse. Oh, Jesus, I can't. No, just Google it. Fuck that place. And like, what the fucking fuck? What do these monsters get? Why do these monsters get to be a part of my story? I hate this. I don't want to talk about it, and I don't want to think about it. I can't think about it, but I have to think about it. I have to think about something that makes me feel strong. Platform boots, my Burning Man boots, or the sick platform boots that I wore with my hot pink bride's dress to the neon carnival part of my wedding. Those boots were white, but my stylist spray painted them to perfectly match my Alice and Olivia high-low gown, which incorporated yards of tulle, brilliantly constructed bustier, and it was everything. Everything. See? Something that makes me feel safe. My dogs. My little fur angels, Dollar, Prada, Slivington, Harajuku, Marilyn Monroe, Prince Hilton, and Princess Paris Jr., Tokyo Blue, Peter Pan, Diamond Baby, Tinkerbell, the OG Hilton pup. Think, goddammit, something that makes me feel happy. My friends. One time Demi Lovato and I were shopping and the topic of Taco Bell came up because we were both obsessed with Taco Bell. She told me that Taco Bell pillows on the she had Taco Bell pillows on the furniture in her screening room. I love Demi. Another time, back in 2006, Britney Spears and I were at a party in a friend's bungalow in Beverly Hills Hotel, and we got bored and wanted to go back to my house, but these people didn't want us to leave because, let's be real, I know how this sounds, but if you had Britney Spears and Paris Hilton at your party, would you want them to leave? They were like, no, you can't go yet. And I didn't want to be rude, so I pulled Brit into a bathroom and said, let's use my little trick. I opened the window and popped out the screen, and Brit was like, I can't climb out the window, because she was wearing a cute little cocktail dress. I told her it would be fine, and I helped her climb out. We were dying, laughing so hard, but we got out, and we ran down an alley, and the second we came around the corner, we were swarmed by paparazzi. I pulled Brit back into the shadow so that we could check each other. As friends do, I tweaked Brit's hair, we did each other's lip gloss, finest girls, camera ready. We went back out, trying to make our way to the car. Paparazzi did what they do, calling to get us to look their way. Paris, look left, left. Hey, Brittany. Hey, Brittany, Paris, over here. Paris, is it true that you and Lindsay got into an altercation last night? I didn't really respond. We were just trying to get to the car, right? Paris, Brittany, one more. Paris, Lindsay says you hit her. What's the feud between you and Lindsay? Now they all got on board. Did you hit her? Did you hit her? Did you hit her? It was raining a bit, and Brittany was freezing cold and in a hurry to get in the car. I was wearing jeans, so I opened the door for her and stood there to block any immodest shots that might result from her getting into the passenger seat. I went around to the driver's side, and they kept asking, did you hit her? Did you hit her? Did you hit her? Because a day or two earlier, this weird video came out where she said that I hit her elbow and dumped a drink on her. I still have no idea what she was talking about. No, I said, ask her. She's right there. And I pointed to Lindsay Lohan, who had left the party shortly after we did. Lindsay, tell them the truth. She was walking with Elliot Mintz. People refer to Elliot as my publicist, and he used to say, my role is more like what I would describe as a crisis manager. Our relationship was a lot like the Dragon Queen and the little guy in Game of Thrones. Paris would never, Lindsay said. She's my friend. Everyone lies about everything. She's a nice person. Please, just leave us alone. We're friends. You're friends, they said. Lindsay, you're friends? Elliot brought her over to the car and opened the door to get her out of the rain, maybe, or maybe to clear up any crazy rumors that were flying around. She never did that, Lindsay said. She's a good girl and a nice person. I've known her since I was 15. Please, stop. And then Lindsay got in the car, which was kind of awkward because I was driving a Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren that only had 2 seats. She got in and Brittany kind of wedged up into the middle thing, ideally where you would put your purse. On a video that captured this moment, there's a collective gasp, and then one of the paps says, oh, this is going to be a classic. And they go at it, snapping their asses off, holding the cameras over the hood of the car. The rain's dropping on the windshield like bedazzle time. Paris, wipe the windows. I pulse the wipers, an insane snapping frenzy starts. Thank you, Paris. Lindsay, look over here. I put the car into gear, but the constant flashing on the rainy windshield was blinding, and I was always paranoid that someone would put their foot under the tire and claim I ran them over, because that's the kind of effed up thing people do in LA. Elliot stepped out into the street and waved me out of the parking lot space the way that a guy with lightsabers waves a private jet onto a runway. Let them out. It's raining, he said. They shuffled inside, and we drove away. I don't remember where we went. Does it matter? All anyone cared about was that moment. The next day, the iconic shot of Brittany, Lindsay, and me ran on the cover of the New York Post with the words Bimbo Summit and gigantic typeface under our faces. I didn't love the wording, but my bangs did look super cute. How can you nail that, really? How often can you nail that, really? Bangs are tricky, and the Paps were right. It was an instant classic. All these years later, I still see these pictures on t-shirts, posters, birthday cards, coffee cups, boxer shorts, glittery clutch purses, all kinds of merch. My favorite is the fold-out laminate sunshade that goes inside your windshield. That's hot. 15 years later, Carter and I were honeymooning on a private island in the Maldives. We were busy ignoring the rest of the world when we finally sneaked a peek at our devices, and every message was blowing up with stuff about the 15th anniversary of the Holy Trinity. I looked at the photo and laughed. We really do look like Charlie's Angels. I appreciated Joy Saha's article in Nylon, Paris, Brittany, and Lindsay, the triumph of the Bimbo Summit, about why mean-spirited post headlines hadn't aged well and how the it girls of the aughts were reclaiming their narratives. I'd just gotten married and was running a massive multimedia and lifestyle conglomerate. Brittany had recently ended the outrageous 13-year conservatorship that had exerted control over her finances and personal life. Lindsay had just gotten engaged and was working on a professional comeback. I was so glad for her. We're not close, but I always wished her well. I understand why the media wanted to pit us against one another. It sold papers. It generated clicks. That blizzard of flashing lights created a dozen or so versions of a classic photo, each with a slightly different perspective. And those images have generated millions of dollars in licensing and royalties. Interrupting book club, what happened? What happened? Interrupting? What? What happened? Interrupting book club. I'm confused. I'm going to keep reading, but you tell me if something happened. Not for us, of course. Brittany, Lindsay, and I get exactly zero of those dollars, but somebody else bought a house off of those photos. Somebody put his kid through college on those photos. I understand what motivated them. I have a hard time understanding what motivated everyone who piled onto that headline with nothing to gain but a brittle satisfaction of being a bully. Joy Saha wrote in 2006, society has yet to grasp the concept of empathy, allowing for a broken system that thrived off incessant exploitation. Is it not sending my actual message? I guess not. Do you want to text me? You can text it to me and it'll pop up over the top here, Liz. Oh, good. Okay. So there was that. I tried to stay out of the alleged feuds in the tabloid, but they were always whipping them up. They constantly printed complete BS about my bitter feud with a friend I had no issue with, or my cat fight with some stranger that stood 3 feet away from me on a red carpet. Sometimes it was ugly. It took me back to the roar of the rap. Pitting us against each other, Weasel Mug drained our energy and stole our identities. I'll send it the other way. Okay. I'm pausing so that I can see it. It should come down over the top of the screen. Grace, what time do you go home later so we can check on you? Okay. That noise distracted us from hideously real shit going down. Shit that caused those boys to suffer and took them out and gave them to me in a jar. She's done. Oh my gosh, you're done? You're on your way home in the car? Oh my gosh, I thought you were on your way to the appointment. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you drowsy? Oh my God, I thought you were going in. Good Lord, woman. We did hear rumors about how they disappeared, but it was mostly in the context of don't go in the woods, kind of a cautionary tale to keep us from running off. We didn't want to think about it. We were scared to think about it, and it was easier not to think about it when we had the Real Housewives of Running Springs to distract us. And the years after my CEDU experience, the roar of the rap was never far away. I tried hard to drown it out, but I couldn't party hard enough. I couldn't drive fast enough. I couldn't crank my music loud enough or vacuum up enough love to make it go away. Oh, that's really funny, Liz. That's funny. Sometimes I fell back on that slay or be slain mentality, and I'm not proud of that. It was effed up, okay? I was effed up. I drank a lot, like a lot. The rap was all about destroying people for who they are. People who were the most obvious targets in the ugliest possible language. The N-word, the C-word, the F-word. No, not that F-word, the worst one. I look back on some of those things that I said in the years after I left Provo in those throes of PTSD, and I'm mortified, I'm horrified, I'm grossed out, because that means those creepy people got inside my head and I never really left them behind. Saying that I drank to dull the pain, that's an explanation, not an excuse. Sometimes I was just wasted and being a moron. I don't remember half the stuff people say I said when I was being a blacked out idiot, but I'm not denying it, because coming out of the CEDU system, I had a severely damaged filter, except when I was buzzed, and then I had no filter at all. My ability to trust people was systematically destroyed, and getting close to anyone made me feel vulnerable and raw. As a result, I said the worst things to and about the people that I loved most. I'm genuinely a nice person. I try to help people whenever I can. I love to lift up my friends and fellow creatives. Puffy and I were hanging out at our camp at Burning Man last summer, and he said, "We're the OGs. We're killing it more than ever." He's been there for me since the early hard partying years, along with a core group of friends who always accepted me as I was in the moment. Puffy, Nicole, Kim, Britt, Snoop, Nikki, Farrah, Brooke, Whitney. Looking at you, Allison and Jen, these people are family, and I'm grateful. I can't regret those party years because they're all a part of it. We lived for the nightlife. My girlfriends and I had so much fun raging around the world. LA, London, Burning Man, Ibiza, Saint-Tropez, Paris, Vegas. Sometimes they'd beg to go home. Paris, please, can we please call it a night? I kept them out until dawn. I was afraid to be alone in the dark. No matter how far I traveled, in my dreams, I was right back where I started, running down that mountain, slipping on mossy rocks, disappearing where there were remains of those lost boys. Sad. It's very sad. Oh, poor thing. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Well, all right. Like I told you yesterday, I have a very busy day, so I will not be back on tonight, but I'm gonna go get some writing done before I have to go down to Orange County. I am taking stuff to the post office on my way, so orders will go out on the way. And yes, I hate every bit of what she went through, but wedding dress shopping and babies will be fun. And I will see you all tomorrow for book club. Really? All right, I'll have to, what do you call it? I'll have to track it, Becca. All right.